Rini and Golia joining us. We'll be here the
I'm
whole
back.
rest of the day to get you all caught up. But let's talk about the Pirates, who return a lot of talent here for Mike Houston's fourth season. Should take a look at a little bit of info about the Pirates for this season. Their 2021 record, 7-5, 5-3 in the American. Rini, some good key non-conference games to really start off with North Carolina State.
Yeah, and they ended on a good note last year, winning 3 of 4. Of course, we talked about they got to the Military Bowl, weren't able to play. The game got canceled, but you're right. I mean, that non-conference, that North Carolina State game in conference, boy, what a showdown that is early September 3rd. And then, of course, BYU October 28th. So really nice non-conference schedule for Mike Houston and ECU.
As we mention him, let's bring him on in. Coach Houston, appreciate the time. Thank you for joining us. Your fourth season, you have a lot of talent, being able to bring Holton back. What are you most excited for with what you have on this roster?
Well, I just think the biggest thing that excites us is, the student athletes that we have. And, when I took the job in 2019, you started with a vision and you started building the roster. And as we sit here going into year 4, you have a roster that's been in the program. You have a roster that you've recruited and built. And we believe in these young men, and they are very committed to what we're trying to do here. And so you just really feel like for the first time you have great stability. You feel like you have the talent where you need to have the talent. You have the experience. And it's always good when you return your quarterback. So, we really like our roster going into the season.
And we'll set several more records. Let's get to Chuck Sullivan now, who's going to facilitate some of the questions from our media members, Coach.
Thanks, Chris. We can go right to questions. Please use the raise hand feature on the Zoom to get into the queue. And we can start with Kyle Williams from the News and Observer, please.
Hey, Coach. You first game of the season's against in-state, NC State. They're returning a lot of their defense from the previous season. How big of a test is that first, especially with them playing them first? How big of a test is that for your team?
Well, I think it's a big game right out of the gate. NC State had a great year last year. Dave's done a great job building that program there. They're talking this maybe is the best NC State team that they've had. So right out of the gate, you'll go up against a stiff opponent. But we like our team. It's going to be a great game. Really excited we have them here at home. We expect a full stadium, so 51,000 Pirates here to greet them. So it's just we're really excited about the matchup.
Okay, we'll go next to Brian Bailey, please, WNCT in Greenville.
All right, Coach, when you hit the ground running coming up this week in order not to get off to a slow start, what are some of the things you want to do at practices, the first couple of practices to start things off?
Well, we talked last week before we broke, for this discretionary week. We talked as a team, and just, with the experience we have back, and really it's the first time we've had experience like this. I expect us to look like a really good football team day one. There's really no excuses not to. The guys that are going to be on the field, in the 2 deep are guys that have played a lot of ball. They've been in the system. They've been in our program. So we expect to be playing at a pretty high level right out of the gate. And I think that should, translate into game day starting September 3rd.
We'll go next to Stephen Igo, please, from Hoist the Colors.
Coach, you guys picked to finish 6th in the preseason poll. Is that something you'll use as motivation after being tied for 3rd at the end of last year, or do you just kind of ignore that stuff?
Well, I haven't seen the preseason polls, so it's you bringing it up is the first I've heard of it, but really haven't cared about anything preseason-wise in the past, and not going to start now. What we do on the field and what we earn will be how our season is measured, and we're really interested in that postseason standing more than anything preseason.
Okay, take the next one from Patrick Johnson, please. 94.3 The Game.
Hey, Coach, obviously with Ehlers coming back, your running backs coming back, there's a lot of excitement there. Could you just talk a little bit about the receivers that you brought in, particularly through the portal, and where you feel like the offensive line is going into the season?
Well, I think first, just talking about our fronts, I think both offensively and defensively, we feel very good about our offensive front and our defensive front. I I think we have good size, good athleticism, very good depth. Talking about the offensive line, you talk about wanting to have a starting five. I don't think we have a starting five. I think we've got, a two deep right there where I can't tell you how it's going to shake out during preseason camp exactly who's going to be in there. To me, that's a good thing this year because I think we do have more than just five guys that can go out there, September 3rd. The receiving core, with, Tyler declaring last year, Audie graduating, and, just some of the things there in that room, we felt like we needed to address that with some experience pretty quick. We do have some young guys that played some last year that'll, be in the rotation again this year, but we felt like we needed some older additions. So, we're excited about those guys that we brought in. I think Isaiah Winstead has been, a guy that's had a lot of success at the FBS level. He's done a great job this summer of coming in and, establishing himself work ethic-wise, establishing himself from experience and leadership-wise as a guy that can be trusted. Excited about Jalen Johnson, transfer from Georgia, played the national championship game, was a good player at Georgia. Excited to have him here with us. And so I think that you start looking at those guys, in addition to what else we have coming back, we feel good about our receiving core.
Okay, we'll go next to Eric Gullickson, WITN TV, please.
Hey, Coach. You mentioned it a little bit about a bunch of the new additions, and you talked in the spring about a lot of young guys coming in. I know you guys have been doing workouts and summer, conditioning stuff. How have they kind of fit into the group as you guys are getting ready to kick off fall camp?
Well, I think, especially this year, with the experience we have coming back, it's going to be hard for a freshman to get on the field. When we look at our team in 2020, you started a ton of freshmen. Those guys are still here, and so you have third-year guys that have a lot of experience. To where I think, in order for a freshman to get on the field and play this year, he'll have to be a pretty special player. I think we've got a couple that may, but certainly we don't feel the need to have to push anybody out there, this year.
We'll go next to Dan Tortora, Wake Up Call DT, please.
Good morning, Coach. Just, looking at the fact that this conference has obviously been affected by realignment multiple times and will be affected after this season with 3 going out and 6 coming in. How do you look at college football kind of as a whole and your thoughts on having to obviously coach against the teams that and then having to learn these teams that are going to be coming in next year?
Well, I think that everybody is curious to see how the next couple of years are going to go. College football is changing. It's changing pretty quick. I think with, what the SEC and the Big Ten are doing, it's going to have a trickle-down effect on all the other conferences. The American Conference has been a highly competitive conference, ever since its start, and we're excited to be a part of it. Cincinnati, UCF, and Houston have been great programs in this conference. Them departing, they'll go on and try to do the same thing in the Big 12, but we'll have 6 schools coming in, so the conference is going to change. At the end of the day, our focus is going to be purely on East Carolina. I think we have a chance, just like I thought when I came here in 2019, we have a chance to establish ourselves as one of the top programs in the country. I think we've got a great fan base. We've got a great school to recruit to. The administration here, both on campus and within the athletic department, is committed to football. So, we're excited about the future of Pirate football.
Okay, we'll take 2 more. We'll go to Trace Trilco first, Sons of UCF.
Coach, how have you seen Holton grow as a quarterback during his years with you?
Well, I think, just the experience that he has, the maturity that he's developed has been so important. When I got here, you had a guy that had some ability, had some success his freshman year, but he had to learn how to be, a great game manager, a great leader, a great teammate. Had to learn how to, not try to do it all himself, to trust his teammates. And I really feel like, the second half of last year Holton played at a very high level. He's had a great off season. So coming into this year, I think he brings experience. I think his body is in the best shape it's been in. He's really worked hard on his mechanics. I think he has a lot of confidence in the pieces around him. So I think that now you have a guy that is a great leader of a unit, as opposed to just trying to be a guy to go out there and kind of do it all himself.
We'll take the last one for Coach from Leo Haggerty, please.
Coach, you play a predominance of your games in the South. How important is it to have that rotation, especially in your offensive and defensive lines, to have 5, 6, or 7 guys that can play?
Well, I think that that's important no matter where you geographically play your games. But, the reality is, you're going to see a lot of heat the first half of the season, especially with the first 4 at home here in Greenville. Temperature, September 3rd, 12 o'clock kickoff, you're probably going to be in the mid 90s with pretty high humidity. So having depth on the fronts, having guys that you can rotate in and out with little drop off or no drop off, I think will only help us. We worked very, very hard to develop that defensive line room because it was virtually non-existent when I got here. But we're excited about the kids in that room, and they've worked very, very hard. I'm excited to see what they're going to do this year.
Appreciate the time. Head coach Mike Houston, appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Go Pirates.
You know all about the humidity and playing in the South, being in Orlando, but it is a tough schedule to get going and needing to build up that depth so that you have players that are able to make it through the fourth quarter.
And it's one that NC State better not sleep on going in there, opening up the season. But, I told people it was going to take 3 years for Mike Houston to really kind of turn that program around, change the culture, and it was. Year 3 last year, 7 wins, a bowl invite, so he's got that program going the way it needs to go.
It's also a trend. We'll look at other teams that in year 3 really started to see the turnaround. Here is a look at ECU's schedule. How about towards the back end? BYU, Cincinnati, Houston, all there right in a row.
Yeah, and on the road, but then you get UCF in there as well. Of course, that 4-game stretch. UCF, BYU, Cincinnati, and Houston is just torturous.
When we started off the show, you were intrigued about the quarterback play in this league, and the Pirates have the one that you want to talk about. And Holton Ehlers returns for a 5th season, over 10,000 career yards, 69 career touchdowns, most experienced quarterback in the conference. What does he provide with his legs and his arm?
His toughness. I just love his strength. He can run the ball. And we talked about his experience, 5th-year starter, 10,000 yards passing. He understands what he needs to do and what he does not need to do for that offense. So him leading the way it's a great thing for that program. So I expect big things out of Holton Ehlers this season.
He also has some guys around him in the running back room that he can pass things off to. All right, let's get to some of our players. Holton is one of them, and linebacker Myles Berry also joining us from ECU. Hey, guys, appreciate the time. When we were talking with Coach, basically he kept talking about experience for you guys now in his 4th year. How have you already, Holton, I'll start with you, seen that experience develop through the spring and throughout the practices?
Yeah, it's been great. I think anytime you return the guys that we're returning and the experience that we're returning, this off season runs smoothly, spring runs smoothly, and, just getting ready for camp, knowing what to expect for the season, getting your body and your mind right is really important. Just having guys that have been in that position before is huge for us. I'm pretty sure most of our guys returning have started a good chunk of games, so it's really exciting for us. It's been really smooth so far.
Yeah, and I also agree with the amount of experience that we do have. Everybody is on one mission. We have one goal, and we all know what we need to do to achieve that goal. So we're all just, tunnel vision, and we have a mission this year. And with the experience that we have, that leadership will be able to carry us to that.
Okay, we'll go right into questions for the 2 student athletes. We'll start with Patrick Mason from the Daily Reflector in Greenville, please.
Hey, this question is for Holton, really. Having played a lot of football, through high school, college, you've definitely thrown to some different receivers. So I'm kind of curious how that experience and maybe what works best for you and kind of, forming a bond and connection right away with some of these new guys this offseason.
Yeah, it's always important to have chemistry with your receivers. Obviously we got some new guys coming in that are going to play big roles for us, and that's what the off-season's for, though. They've played a lot of snaps too in college football. Just because they haven't here doesn't mean they haven't played a lot of snaps in general. So they're pretty experienced too. Just getting a feel for them, what they like, where they like the ball to be on certain routes, how they like to look, just the little things through the offense, through the routes that we can connect on, just timing thing. But a lot of that comes from camp too. We go for a straight month practicing pretty much every single day against full competition with our defense, 1 versus 1. So a lot of that will come then. During the off season, you just try to work on timing, anticipation, just try to kind of, like I said, just get a feel for where they like the ball, where they like to back shoulder it, do they like to catch it on the run, and just little things like that.
We'll go to Kyle Williams from the News and Observer, please.
Oh, what's up, guys? Coach Houston spoke earlier about the experience that the team has. And so for you, Holton, how does the experience and, having that formative run, that really impressive running game returning, how does that help you guys going into week 1 against NC State defense, returning most of their guys?
Yeah, it helps a ton. We're returning most of our guys too. So, kind of like you said, we're returning 2 of the top running backs in our conference, really in the country. I'd take those guys over anyone. So, that's the running game is quarterback's best friend. It just only help me out, only help the offense out and the team out. So, anytime you can just hand the ball off and let those guys go to work, we're going to. They're the workhorse of our offense. So just excited to see those guys work and compete this year and, open things up for the passing game.
We'll go next to Brian Bailey, please, WNCT.
And this question is from Myles. Myles, how tough is it to go against Holton and that offense, the running backs with Keaton and Rajay, and in practice, especially in camp, because it's a grind anyway. But how hard is that, and how does that make you a better defense?
Oh, it's very tough, going against Holton. I've been going against Holton for years now, so sometimes we're kind of cheating off each other because he knows some of my tendencies, I know some of his. Same with Keaton and Rajay. Keaton is a shiftier back, so me as a linebacker, I have to be at a certain level of discipline, and I have to really focus on my technique when tackling him. Rajay is a physical, shifty downhill runner also, so I make sure I have to, bring my stuff when I'm tackling him. But it's iron sharpening iron, and with that competition every day, that's going to lead us into having a great season this year because we have to work every day and we're constantly making each other better.
We'll take the next one from Eric Gullickson, WITN TV, please.
Hey guys, fall camp starting next week. How do you guys keep your focus on just the overall development with that NC State game looming and a lot of hype already building around that game? How do you guys plan to kind of attack fall camp, I guess?
Well, we're not really paying attention to the hype because the hype, it can be negative if you pay attention to it too much. So like you said, camp starts next week, and that's our primary focus, is having a great camp. And then once we get through camp, then all our attention will be on NC State.
Yeah, I'll kind of top with that. Potential's nothing unless you turn it into production. We have experience coming back to know how to get through a fall camp, how to get better, and get prepared for the season. And we've been in those close games and games that we should have won and some games that we have won. So just all that experience coming back definitely helps us, getting through camp and preparing ourselves for the first game and the games after that.
Okay, the next one will go to Patrick Johnson, 94.3 The Game, please.
All right, for Myles, with Blake Harrell coming back for a third year, just defensively, how much more multiple and versatile do you feel the defense is? And then after Myles' of time, I'd like to just ask Holton a different question.
Okay. Yeah. So with Coach Harrell coming back, this is the third year in the defense now, and with that, all the guys on the defense have just a certain level of confidence that we really never had before. And now it's not just knowing your position and knowing the roles and responsibilities of your position, but now we're learning everybody's position. So we're all working on the same platform. We're all working as like a fine-tuned machine. And I feel like that will definitely carry over into this season. You saw it the second half of last season, defense was rolling strong, and we're gonna carry that momentum into this year, to camp.
Holton, I know you maybe unfortunately or unfairly sometimes have to burden a lot of responsibility being the hometown player. But as you go into this season, could you just elaborate on your expectations and really enjoying a final season in a Pirate uniform?
Yeah, I mean, I knew when I committed here when I was 17 years old that there was going to be a lot of pressure here, but I wanted it to be on me and no one else. Coach Houston came in and has developed a great culture here, a great team culture to really counter that, and it's been really good to be a part of it. I think this year, he said it too, and our players have too. It's the best team overall that we've had. We've been in the games, we've been close there, and I think that this year we just go out there and play the way that we know we can play, and the rest will take care of itself. But for it being my last year, I am going to enjoy it as much as I can, and just really appreciate there's going to be a lot of laughs for me this year. As for Myles, really it's his last year too. So just enjoying it, just taking it one game at a time, one practice at a time. It starts with camp and just getting the team as close as we can be to being ready for that first game, and then going out there and playing good the whole season.
Holton, Myles, we appreciate the time. Good luck this season as you kick things off September 3rd against North Carolina State. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Go Pirates.
Go Pirates.